Welcome to the Midlife. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Kimby. Hi, everybody.
So, even though it's the middle of January and you're listening to it, you should know that this is not a professional operation. And so, behind the curtain, today is the first work day of the new year. So, I've got like some buzzing energy. How are you feeling about the new year?
Yes, I'm feeling inspired and buzzy too, for sure. I
Which
mean, yeah.
we're just embarking. I love that fresh start feeling, right? And that we took a little time to plan for the year and we're kind of just jumping in with both feet. And so we haven't actually podcasted in 2 weeks together, even though, of course, we've chatted many a times. But I'm actually kind of like nervous. I feel like it's almost like we're starting over this morning.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that. I mean, I think it is an interesting dance to kind of take off some time and come back. And so get back in the flow of things. It feels really fresh and new. I totally feel that.
But you're not
super
nervous.
excited because I'm not nervous. I'm excited. I feel excited. Yeah. And I think we've been really thoughtful about the new year personally and together as our business and partners. And I'm really excited about it. And I feel grounded and inspired. And
here we go.
I hope everyone else has had a little time to reflect and set some intentions. And if you haven't, there's no time like the present, right?
Of course.
Just give yourself some time to kind of clean up the old and get rid of it and set some intention for moving forward and who you want to be, what you want it to feel like, what you want it to end up like, all the stuff, which I'm also excited about our new endeavor about.
Yeah.
So we kept hearing how everyone was so sweet and commenting to us saying, I just forget I'm not there. Like I keep feeling like I'm talking to you guys and like I'm in the room, like I'm with you. So
by the time
about it.
Yeah, by the time this airs, we will have already tried this once. So this is supposed to be Friday, January 13th when this actually drops. But on Wednesday, January 11th, we're starting something new called Happy Hour. And you guys have the opportunity every Wednesday. So no matter when you're listening to this going forward, you can be part of the podcast. And you can do that you can show up in two different ways. One, you can just be there like as an audience and just be part of it. And then if you feel inspired or have something you want to say or have a question, then you can sort of like raise your hands. Think of it like a Zoom room, although we don't do it on Zoom. We do it in another system. We'll send you a link and you can join the conversation every Wednesday going forward. So we're really excited about bringing you guys into the conversation instead of just feeling like you're listening to the conversation, that you're part of it. And we care what you think and we care what you're working on. And we want to help you and support you any way that we can. And so we thought that was a really good way to do it.
Super excited to get to meet you all and, hang out with you and spend some time and grow together and learn from each other. So I am super inspired by that new addition.
Yeah. So you can go to our website, themidlife.co, and it's called Happy Hour. And if you click on that page, you can sign up so that you receive the links every week to come join us whenever you feel like it. So that'll be so fun.
Awesome. And it's going to be, we're aiming for like a lunchtime so that you can spend your lunch with us so that you can navigate your day around that, just knowing. So you'll check it out and see where you are, which time zone you're in, when it lands for you and try to carve out that time so we can be together. So cool. Yes.
So it's 10:30 for me on the West Coast. It's 11:30 for Tracy in Boise. And 1:30 on the East Coast. So join us whenever. We'd love to have you. So I read something this morning and made me laugh. And I think it's 100% true. And it's a quote by Henry Ford. And it said, if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're probably right.
So good.
I thought that was that felt so good now. because I feel like everything is possible for you listening no matter what. And it's also whatever you deem impossible is, and you get to choose. You get to decide.
Yes. Yes. I agree. I mean, I think we're always talking about how the way your brain works and, the thought you have is the thing you're going to be gathering evidence for and making come true. And so if it's a negative thought, you will gather the evidence and you will follow suit to make sure that, yes, you cannot do that thing, or, never be a success in that way, or I suck at this, or what if that's the story, we have no choice but to prove it. That's how our brains work. And so taking a moment to step back whenever those stories come up, and we all have them, I'm working on one, I always hate paperwork. And I'm like, what if I love paperwork this year? What if I make it a way that just feels easy to myself? And I've been playing with it for the last 2 days. I'm like, I am by the end of this year going to have a new story about paperwork. It's going to be, it doesn't ever have to be my favorite thing, but I can make it not something that I suck at, or that I tell the story that I suck at, or that I hate it. Like, how do I make it more fun for me? How do I make it easier? And so that, because let me tell you, when I say that I suck at it, I suck at it every year and I hate it every year. And, so I am making sure that that is true. And so I'm like, I want to find all those places where my own version of my story about me could change for the better. And that I could just I could practice something different.
Yeah.
And a new thought. And really, and what's true is we need to practice them. It's not like you can just think it and then change, because the other one is so strong at this point that you really need to lean into it. So maybe it's, I'm practicing believing I can blah, 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 and then I need to say that every day. I need to write it down. I have to keep practicing believing it until that thought changes, and I no longer am practicing believing it. I am believing it, or I'm closer to believing it, or whatever the baby steps are on the way to it. But it's something that you have to actually put the work into, believing and trying that new thought. And I think it's good work.
Well, so I love it. And I think, you say it's baby steps. And I think that the first baby step is the self-awareness, right? To catch yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's something that's, pretty low stakes, paperwork, whatever, all the crap that we all have to deal with. So low stakes, but at least you have the self-awareness to identify it. Because I'm thinking of an entry that was in our Facebook group, Muddling Through the Midlife. And we were talking about, this was many, many months ago. And we were talking about being burned by girlfriends, and then seeking out new relationships on new terms. And somebody had commented in a way where she was like, no, I'm never putting myself out there because it's only going to be bad. And I think that person is who popped into my head as we're talking about that, because it's like you want to be able to take that person aside and go, no, you're just believing that story and it will keep repeating itself, because that's the energy that you're putting out there. And that's the relationship that you're seeking, and it is self-fulfilling. And yet I also knew in that conversation that I wasn't going to push that person because they had no self-awareness to make that switch at that moment.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, but I think there's something about planting seeds, right? There's something
and I think the seed was planted. It was definitely planted, but she kept coming back and I was like, okay. I really hope for you one day that you can let go of that story and believe something different and be proven right on that end too. Not to say that it always is going to work out perfectly from this point forward. You're going to struggle over the next year with your paperwork, but you're going to keep challenging yourself to feel better about it or find a way to not hate it.
Yes. And I think one of the pieces that's the level up of this work that we're talking about is the finding the story within yourself, right? That so even if I'm struggling with the paperwork, am I then still telling the story that I suck at it and that I hate it? And so there's my work, is no longer doing that, so that I'm taking ownership of how it feels inside of me. And so just like the woman you're talking about, it's how does that feel to limit yourself with that thought, to think, I'm never going to do that again because I'm not going to put myself out there? How does that feel inside of you? And what does that have you doing or not doing in your life? And is that what you want for yourself?
Yeah.
So that next piece is being able to take that work and go, you know what, no matter what someone else does, even if they do disappoint you again, I'm going to show up like this. And so instead of not showing up, right, and never letting myself be the person I want to be, or, allow myself to be vulnerable again, or keep, continuing to be authentic because I don't want to be the person that's believing the story and closed off to any new relationships, then the only thing is back to the 10 acres, right? Is like, the only thing I need to worry about is my story of me and how I'm showing up and how that story has me showing up. And that's the goody work, right? That's the good stuff. It's not easy, but it's the good stuff where it's like, it's not about the other person. It's about your journey. And so push yourself, to allow yourself to see it differently so that you don't have to be limited and stuck. Like, I can never do that again. It's like, no, I'm going to do that again. And this is the way I'm going to do it. And I'm going to be a fucking badass about it because this is how I want to feel when I do it. And so the first thing I'm going to say to someone is, hey, I've been burned a lot and this is what I expect out of a relationship. And that's how the energy is going to ride, right? And either it's a yes or a no, and boom. Right? Yeah. I'm coming into it differently. I'm coming with all my information and I'm not going to get stunted by it.
Right. So I think that message for the people that are going, yeah, but is really what you said, is that you have to show up in the way that you want to show up every day in every part of your life. And what happens as a byproduct of that is completely out of your control. Whether it's in a love relationship or a friendship or a business or whatever it is. But to change your story about who you are, what is going to happen in this world for you, and you're going to be right. So if you're going to be right, wouldn't it be more fun to be right on the positive side than to be right on the negative side? And the flip side of that quote for me too was like the dream big, right? So if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're probably right. So if you believe you can have amazing trips or a house that you want or a relationship that you want, like, to step into that feels so good. So not just like a self-protection, the negative part of it, but all the good that can come out of believing that you're entitled to it. You deserve it. You can make it happen. You can find a way. Yes. You can be right.
Yes, you can be right. And you can feel however you want to. Right. And paint it however you want to. I always say, like, yours is a clean canvas. Like, what colors do you want to paint it? What do you want it to look like? What do you want it to feel like? Have you even stopped to ask yourself any of those questions and allow yourself and allow your you, right, to be whoever you want to be?
Yes. Yeah. No,
so that you can do all of those things.
Yeah. So maybe that's, this year, as we're fresh here in January, it's like, what can you believe? What goodness can you believe in? What incredible goals can you believe in? What incredible situations can you believe in for yourself to be right about? And I just thought that was really fun energy to read. Yeah.
It's so fun. So what about you? Are you working on anything? Have you?
Who, me?
How does that story ring for you? What can you share with us that you are doing?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I've talked about being flexible, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's a huge thing for me. And again, it came up this week in a crazy way. And for me, it's like slowing down, being more deliberate. The story I always tell is like, I'm so busy, I can't, stop to figure out what I'm doing. Like, that's a dumb story, right? No, I can stop to plan and be deliberate and intentional and make time expand for myself instead of always like reacting, but to be more deliberate and intentional. And, it's working out.
That's such a good one, especially here in the January, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a fun one where we've dared ourselves, each of us, to kind of look at our responsibilities and our wants and needs and to start a fresh calendar and like go online, get to that Google Calendar and really lay out all those things. And like you said, time is expanded, and I'm sharing behind the curtain of how it's expanded.
Totally.
So that story of I have so much to do, there's no time, I'm chasing my tail, I can't even, breathe or floss my teeth. Who has time for that, right? And actually writing it all down and mapping it out and putting it on the calendar so why I love the living one on the computer is there is that flexibility. So if you need to move something around, you just move it around and you can keep playing with it. But setting it up was a really amazing experience for me yet again.
For both of us, we did it separately.
Yeah,
we did it separately, and we both had the same experience. So again, just to like share behind the curtain. So we, Tracy and I set out goals for ourselves and for the midlife and for what we want to bring you over the next year. And it was a lot, but it was incredibly focused. And then we challenged each other over the last week to then go plan out our days through March as to exactly what we'd be doing during the day to further the goals that we'd set for ourselves and for our business. And if you would have asked me to do that 2 months ago, I would have felt totally overwhelming to me, but we both sat down, we both did it. And then we had a conversation and we giggled. We're like, it doesn't really actually seem like that much. I'm actually kind of worried that we haven't asked enough of ourselves, because when it's all laid out, there's plenty of time. And I think what really came front and center for me was why there was a lot of time is because I am easily distracted. I think we all are. I think I'm not going to just put this on myself, but it really kind of like slapped me upside the head. I'm like, how many times do you just pick up the phone as a distraction to scroll through Instagram for a second, or to check your emails again, or, whatever it is, just these small little distractions, and how much time that eats up, and how every time that you look away from what you're actually trying to accomplish, it doesn't just take the time that you're like, I just did it for 2 minutes. No, because before you look up, it's been 10 minutes. But how do all those hours add up? And if any of you have the screen time alert set on your iPhone and it tells you how much time you've spent on, social media or news or whatever a day, and it's like makes you catch your breath. You're like, holy shit, that was a big waste of time. What else could I have done with that time? So bringing back the intention to the calendar and going, well, wait a second. If I actually spent 2 hours a day working on X, Y, or Z, that leaves a lot of other time to do more things that I want to do. So I'm really excited to see us implement it and kind of laugh at ourselves that actually there's a ton of time to do amazing multiple things.
I love that part of the exercise, because I think most people push back on it because when they look at a full calendar filled completely, it panics them and it makes them feel like, oh my God, that's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Your life looks terrible. And to me, it's so grounding and relaxing to lay it all out and know exactly like, oh, that's exactly how I'm going to get it done. And look at all the time I have free at the end of the night. So if I want to scroll or I want to do, like, it's free time. I can be as couch bummy as I want to, play with my kid, whatever. Because all of my intensive focus time has been laid out. And by the way, I have everything on there. We start out with your responsibilities. So I have a color that's like stuff I do with my kid, pick up, take, do, whatever, art class, like whatever I'm doing with her, that's all on there. But I also have a color for me, which is like my me time. And so
what color is your color?
Meditation or exercise. My color is gray this year.
Oh, interesting.
I know. I loved it. It's very calming. It's very grounded to me this year. So I'm really enjoying that. My child is purple because I can see it and it's fun and it feels like her. to me. And then I have a green for my to-dos for the day of like my work stuff that I want to get done. It feels like exciting and go time. And so I can see that. And then we have like a different color for podcasts and like work that we do together. And so when I look at it, I've even laying it out, such a fun exercise. I'm like, that's too long to be sitting and thinking. So I'm going to give myself a 20-minute walk or meditation break there, have a cup of tea, just step away, stand up, move your body. And I actually found myself going, you need a snack there, you need movement there, and really getting the lay. It was making me giggly about my day. It's like, wow, so focused, so intentional. It's such a better version of me for me to do. And then the to-do times are focused, like you said. So it's like, no, don't pick up the phone. If the phone rings, tough. That's not what I'm doing right now. I gave myself 20 minutes to do this, 10 to do that, 2 hours to do this, and that's it. So it will be really interesting to implement it. Of course, I already started laughing because today is a day off of school for my child. So I have this full load day where I was like, okay, I'm going to have to move it around a little bit. And I was like, well, that's a good challenge. Where can I move it around? How does it work best for me? What am I not going to give up for myself and for our family? And, but I just could be more intentional and more thoughtful about all of it, which felt good. I mean, there was a moment where I was really stubborn. I'm like, dang, I just wanted to do it exactly how I wanted to do it. But part of the exercise is being able to take a deep breath at that moment and go, no, actually, I'm choosing it differently. I can do it exactly like that, but I have the ability to make a different choice. And if I want to spend time with my husband and my child today, then what does that look like? And how do I rearrange this in a way that feels good? Because I'm choosing this. I don't want this. I want to choose this out of feeling good. I don't want to choose this out of resentment for my calendar. Because that just seems not effective at all.
No. I also, it's funny what you're saying about having to move stuff around, because this week is turned into a move things around week. And it has me like kind of pissed. Like, I just want 1 week where all the squares go where they're supposed to go. And I just want to try it out that way. And then I laugh at myself and I say, well, good luck, because I don't think that week's ever going to materialize. So you better get used to this kind of week. Like I had a friend text me that she was coming in town, and I was like, my first reaction was like, well, when am I going to do that? And then I said, hold up. That's great. You get to see a friend you don't get to see all the time. Make it work.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like upsetting for a moment.
Right. It really is. But also there's something, I think, about the comfort of it all being there on the calendar. So it's like, I know I can juggle. So, okay, maybe I have Saturday, Sunday planned as off days, but if I want to see my friend or I want to do this, I'm like, okay, well, I can move 2 things to Saturday where it's not going to mess up Saturday. Or, maybe I wake up an hour earlier and I knock those 2 things out, and because I got to choose to do this, as long as it works. And so just allowing the freedom of that, like, wait a minute, I'm in charge here. So yes, I felt both today too. It was like, dang it, think about how hard it was to actually get it all on the calendar was really challenging. And I want to make sure that everyone hears that. Like it was like doing Tetris.
Well, we haven't looked at it yet, but I think that you got all the way to March, and I think I'm like barely out of January.
Yeah,
we're going to compare
I did
later.
It all the way.
Yeah,
I did all the way through.
I'm struggling. I'm loving it.
Channel.
Yeah, I'm loving it, but it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. And there's also something really powerful and fun about it. But I think that's also when, especially freshly done it, you spend a couple hours, really making sure you have a clear list. And I think as you step into it, I even laughed because I was like, oh, there's also this and there's also that. So I need another list of like the reality of things.
Yeah.
Where
well,
there's
I think
more
that's going to
things
be
that didn't get on the calendar.
I know of one thing in particular that's going to blow your mind that we didn't even think about.
Uh-oh.
And it goes back to the happy hours, because we have it batch process now where we do all of the editing and all of the uploading and all of the stuff that we do like during a certain like week, like we kind of do it all at once. Did it occur to you? Because it just occurred to me that if we do the Wednesdays live, then that day we need to get that right up immediately that day. Did that occur to you?
It did, but we're not going to edit it.
Why not?
So it just
no. It just got to get uploaded.
Right. So it just has to go straight up. Yeah. No, I have time for that, for us to handle whatever we needed to after. Oh, I left a half an hour for like whatever needed to happen there.
And this is why you need a partner to think of the things that you want to think about.
Yeah, but I think as you walk through it, I think that's the fun of doing the calendar too, is that you walk through it and you go, okay, so, you also allot yourself time for things like, and I put, paying bills for my family on the calendar and stuff because I need that like every 2 weeks to be, because, I'm turning it from a dread to a fine.
My hot file.
Like easy to do.
It's my hot file. It's like the one-off shit that you just got to get done. The hot file.
Yeah. And it gets easier when you have a place for it, because then it doesn't, to me, it doesn't end up being something I'm stressed about all the time. Like, no, I have a time where I'm going to take care of that. I have a time where I'm going to handle that. And that's all going to get done. And so that takes some of the shame and the guilt and all that other crap that's so on top of those things that you don't like to do. It helps alleviate some of that for me. So I don't know. I'm interested. I'm excited. You have any questions? Let us know about your calendaring, because it's a really powerful tool.
Working out. All right. So join us on Wednesdays, the happy hour. Go to the website, midlife.co. Look for happy hour, and you can register there to get the links. And hope your January is off to a great start in this new year.
Definitely.